Hello and welcome to Jazz After Dark. How is everybody doing out there tonight? Hope you had a good evening. Tonight we'll be joining again with Chestnut Farms. I promise you this is a different night. I don't record these back to back, but I'm just going to have a little bit here with you because I was actually out with a friend whose family member passed away and I was trying to distract them a little bit. We're going to talk tonight about the 4 expenses in retirement that you guys just look over. And remember that when I say this, I'm coming at you with experience. So we're financial advisors here at Jazz Wealth, and we use Nest Egg as our software and everything to kind of go through and see how people's financial plans are going. And remember that there's a back end to this software as well, meaning I can see if you've logged in 3 times in one day. I could see if you've changed your retirement goal, your retirement age, maybe a debt goal that you have, a estate planning goal. I can see all of that when you change it. There's updates that I get. And so I can see when people are really going for it and when they're sort of trying to fudge the numbers a little bit, right? It's kind of like when you get pulled over by a cop. And you ran the red light, you know what I mean? But you get pulled over and the cop's like, you know why I pulled you over? And you're like, no, I can't tell you. Not sure. I don't know what's going on, right? He knows you're not really giving it your all. You're hiding something. You're not telling the truth. He's seen it a million times, right? Seen it all. I could literally tell you stories where you would think that's not possible. That's just not something that can happen, right? Fellas, right? You go to get your prostate exam. I'm going there. You get your prostate exam. You're super nervous. They're like, oh my God, I'm waiting. I got to get this done, but I need to know if I'm healthy or whatever. And you're nervous. That doctor doesn't care. That finger, that's seen some work today. It doesn't know whether, he's not going to go home and tell his wife about you, right? How was your day, honey? Well, it was this one guy who was super nervous. No, we're all nervous, right? So he's seen it before. Bad examples, I get it, but that's where we stand with this. I want to go over tonight 4 of these monthly or yearly expenses that I promise you are going to be something you encounter in retirement, and you should be accounting for them, right? You can fight it as much as you like, but certainly something that you want to account for. And we're going to use Nest Egg here to go through it. I've got my fictitious couple here, Louis and Lucille Armstrong. Sadly, I would love to be Louis Armstrong for Halloween. Turns out, I guess, people tell me that's a bad idea. So I can't do that. My hero can't be for Halloween, but it's the world we live in. Anyways, moving on. What I want to take a look at is differences in their plan. This will apply to you as well. What I like to do is just kind of work through and head on over to, ready? Next one, goals. The first one we're going to talk about is retirement healthcare. Now, we account for this almost as a default. We use the national average here. You can adjust this if you know your insurance is going to be cheaper. This will calculate itself all the way up to Medicare. And of course, we will adjust from there. But you definitely want to have those healthcare expenses. This is the boring one that everybody's talking about, but I have to mention it because it's a substantial cost in your retirement. So you don't want to be too forgiving with that number. If anything, I tell people go with the national average, or let's go 1.2 times the national average. Let's just go a little bit above just in case you're a little bit off or yours turns out to be a little bit more. It is a guaranteed expense that you will have to pay, especially if you're going to retire early. And so you have to factor that. Whether you're using this with us, you're using some retail planning software, spreadsheets, still really popular out there. That's cool too. I'm a spreadsheet nut myself. But if you're using that, make sure, of course, that we're accounting for healthcare up until the appropriate time in your life, usually 65, when that should be hopefully cheaper, right? Depending on your income and stuff, if you're ACA qualified or Obamacare qualified, of course, that's different. All right, next up, number 2, we're going to take a look at the home maintenance. Now, in this example, I've got Louis and Lucille Armstrong. They're 43, 41. This is actually saved from the other day. And they have an issue where, hey, they're going to be moving. And this is just because of the client that I was doing the other day about buying the house in California. So we're going to pretend that they're going to be moving. So their house is going to be changing. However, they are not going to be renters. Home maintenance. All right. Mike, my man, where are you at? I was just talking to Mike, earlier today. And Mike is fully retired. His family is fully retired. And he was mentioning some of these home expenses, things that he did not account for. Their house is on a hill, and so there needs to be some shoring up of that hill. There was some fencing issues and some tree removal. If you don't account for this, look, this is what people do. They come in here, by the way, and they go, oh, I want to retire at 62. My wife at 60. We're going to spend $4,500 a month. They go like this. We'll get rid of this. I can't tell you how many plans I see that look like this. We go rid of this guy here. And this is all I see. First time I go in here with a client, I see retirement age, retirement expense, and healthcare. And this wouldn't even be here if it weren't for us setting it by default. In reality, when you retire, you are going to have expenses. You can put it as other. You could come in here and say, random home expense. Right? It's got to be something. And you can even average it out. You could say, well, let's say $2,000 a year, and or let's say every other year. Every 2 years, this is going to be an issue, and this will end when I die. Okay, great. There has to be something there, even if the number is not known. There's going to be things that go wrong. And I'm not talking about just hot water heaters and garbage disposals, and that darn air filter gets clogged, and I always forget to change it, right? I'm not talking about that. Talking about those maintenance expenses that if you retire when you're 60, God bless you. I hope you have 30 plus years of retirement. How long does stucco go on the side of your house, or siding before it needs to be hopefully or replaced, just adjusted, right? Maybe there's something that cracked or fell off. How long for the windows? How long for the roof? Right? These things that come up. If you live on an interesting piece of property, how long before that tree is now the roots are growing into your driveway? Right? These are long time things that we're thinking about here. So number 2 is going to be home expenses. I very rarely see people account for that. Okay? Something to look at. Number 3, just like the cop. You know, when the cop pulls you over, no, mister, I don't know. I'm not sure why you pulled me over. It's a total mystery to me. I just can't explain it. I don't know. When people say, I'm going to retire at 62 and my expenses are going to be $4,500 a month, or even let's change it here. This is often what I see. They say $3,500. And I know I've got healthcare in there, but don't worry, I haven't factored it in here. So that's in addition to, right? And then this is gone, of course. They've factored in none of this stuff. And they go, that's it. That's my retirement. Oh, Dustin, let's go. What are the success rate? Am I looking good, Dustin? Can I retire? 70% chance, and that's without even adjusting anything else. They go, oh, awesome. I'm going to die with money in the bank. This is awesome. Actually, it's 80%. And they go, love it. No, stop it, stop it, stop it. You're fooling yourself here because you're going to travel. Did you know, this is a fictitious client, by the way, but did you know that if you're working with us here at Jazz Wealth, I go over to this budget category. Now this is fake, right? It's just not a real person. But did you know that I can see where you spend your money? Not what stores, God forbid. I don't want to know what stores you spend your money at, but I can see travel and education. And so when I come in here prior to reviewing, or your advisor or whoever, they're not dumb. I pick on other advisors sometimes, but they're not dumb. They go in here and they say, hey, okay, it's just good. That's it. That's all he's going to do. I guarantee you the next thing they do is they come on over here, they look at the budget and go, oh, it seems that you spend $1,200 a month in travel and entertainment. Is that just going to stop? Do you currently go home at the end of your day and sit and do nothing, and then on the weekends sit and do nothing? Now you're going to be retired and have 24 full hours in a day where you could do whatever it is you like? No, and we can even tell by your budget there. So to pick on you a little bit here, travel and sort of that entertainment that's not just like, well, I met up with a friend, travel and entertainment to visit your friends or family. It's a given. Come on in your spreadsheet or in Nest Egg or in whatever planning software you're using. Come on in here and say, maybe you don't count it as vacation, but count a goal in here. You could be particular here. You could say whatever that says. Travel and say, look, this will start when I retire, but I may not even do it every year. You could choose to itemize it over each year and say an extra $1,000 a year. That's not a lot for someone in retirement. Let's go back over here. End of plan. to say, well, every year, let's just put aside $1,000. If I don't travel, so be it. I know I've got a cushion there. Itemize that stuff. When you get to the goals portion of your planning, please make sure you get into that one. All right, and lastly, I'm on a roll tonight. To be sure, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to look at their entire net worth. I do not see, we got a loan here for a student loan, not a big deal. I do not see a loan for a car, okay? Now, they don't have to itemize that car if they don't want to, but I just don't see that at the moment. So the next thing on my list is a car. Maybe you don't need 2 cars if it's spouses. You don't need to each have a car, right? You're together, right? So maybe you could just deal with 1 car, and maybe that's something you decide to do because your retirement plan is a little bit iffy. Okay, I've been there. I've seen that. But you're going to need to replace that thing. So once again, coming over to, all right, it's weird to call it a goal, but you say, well, I don't really want to replace the car, but darn it, I keep these cars for a long time, and maybe I like to pay cash for a used car, but that means that, let's say when I retire, that means that every 8 years even, I'll give you that, 8 years, I'm going to need to buy a car, and I'll spend $25,000, and I figure they last 8 years, and so be it, that's what it is. Okay, factor that, right? Think through, and I get it, if you're young enough, you're like, I can't figure what this looks like. It does not compute in my head what 8 years looks like in retirement. But if you look through, this is going to happen. So it won't zoom out anymore. But when you retire, what do we have? We have a goal, right? 8 years later, we have a goal, right in here. And if I just zoom in a little bit, we've got, there we go. We've got a car. Of course, with inflation, it's more than 25,000. We've got a car. We've got a car. We've got a car. And then maybe, I don't know, you maybe just could get away with this one. You're not driving it as much. You maybe don't even need, when you're 86, like, what are we doing? So maybe some of that can go away. But that helps fine tune the total predictable probabilities that you will be successful in retirement. Look, we only went from 80 to 76%. We only shaved a few dollars off the total retirement number. All right. So be sure to factor in those things like travel, and probably because you want to, the car, they don't last forever. I'm sorry, right? I have a 1941 camera go. All right, I guess that's where we're going to end this thing because for whatever reason, the camera has decided to call it quits. Now, I don't know. You can still see me there, right? Look at me with that face, man. Let's go over here and try this real quick and then activate and ta-da, we're back. I don't know why I did that. But think through those things in retirement where you either want to do them, you want to plan for them, and try to make it hard on yourself. So if you come over here, let's say we're at 76%, you go, I don't believe that. That doesn't make much sense at all. Come over here and itemize the devil out of a goal. Add something here that says randomness. Oh, I already did random home expense. Go, I'm not sure expense. Just to get it on the spreadsheet, I guess you got to hit save. Just to get it on there, right? And tell yourself, all right, I want to make this hard on myself. When I retire, there we go. Every year, I want to have $5,000 just pushed off to the side. I don't know. I may not spend it, but you put it there, and then that helps ding the plan a little bit. Make it harder on paper. There you go. Now down to 72. Make it harder on paper than it is in real life, and we can always go back and itemize those things in particular for whatever they come up with. Maybe if you itemize it for an unknown expense, you could come back and say, well, I still have that $5,000 there. I want to give that to somebody. I want to donate that to charity. I want to use that to help offset my RMDs when I turn 73, 4, or 5, based on how old you are now. Okay, flexibility. So by doing the extra work, you're allowing yourself, your advisor, and yourself to be able to say, I see what you're doing here. What is it? I don't know. I just wanted to make it harder. Okay, cool. If you're really passionate about that $5,000, I've got a few ideas. I know what you can do and where you can put it to save you on tax dollars. Maybe leave a few more dollars to your kids if you have kids, or a charity, or something that you believe in. Uncles, aunts, whatever it is, their kids. Anyways, I just wanted to point out those things for you today. I didn't mean to take out too much of your time. Hope you enjoyed. And remember, just because we choose to use Nest Egg and that's our platform and we're all happy with that, that doesn't mean you can't account for this if you're saying, I don't want to work with Jazz Wealth. I don't want to have a planner, an advisor. I don't see the need. All right, put it in your spreadsheet. I'm giving you those tips so that you don't get down the road, you go to retire and somebody else looks at your plan and goes, that's weak. That's missing a lot. I don't like it. All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Ooh, it's late. Off to bed. Adios.